Hey guys, welcome to Teacher Tip Tuesday. And today's teacher tip is about using Bitmojis in the classroom. Again, you can follow all of our Teacher Tip Tuesday videos with the hashtag SLY Teaching. You can also follow SLY Teaching on Facebook and Leanne Yonker on Twitter. So let's get started. First, you may be asking, what is a Bitmoji? Bitmojis are like little personal avatars, pictures that look like you, and these are both usable on Apple and Android. And there's also a Chrome extension to make for easy use while you are on a desktop computer, Chromebook, Mac, things like that. So just a really fun, cute way to kind of communicate and spice up communications. You can add them to emails, you can add them to text messages. And I'm going to show you some ways today that they might be applicable for teachers in the classroom. So you're saying these are great, but I don't really know how these translate over. So I just want to give you an example. These are two Bitmojis that I have actually used with my kids. And while my students are having quiet work time, now mind you, I taught first grade last year. So while my students were having independent work time, after we had talked about expectations and, what their voice level should be, what their body movement should be like, and things like that, I would often post a Bitmoji of myself on the board just to let them know how I thought they were doing. Now, most frequently, it was the one you see here on the right, this, smiling, A plus, nice work. But sometimes, if their voice levels were a little out of control, you could post this girl over here on the left and she's going like, seriously, really? Like, I know you understand the expectations. I just told them to you. And the kids would kind of be like, oh, that's how Ms. Yonker is feeling right now. So let me get myself back under control. So just a cute little way to kind of throw in Bitmojis with classroom management. Just, something different than constantly, what is our voice level, and those mundane reminders that after a while, to kids, you become like Charlie Brown's teacher. So just a cute little way to throw in some management using your Bitmojis. Bitmojis can also be used to give feedback to students. So you can, if your students are doing, like a digital project, they've typed something in a doc or a slide or whatever, you can go in and add your own Bitmoji just the same way you would put a sticker on a conventional piece of paper. Now, this is where I want to caution you. Number one, when you put in a Bitmoji, don't just put in a, great job, A plus, nice work, so exciting. Tell them, tag in a comment, put your Bitmoji that says great job. And then also say, I really like how you included transitional words in your writing and things like that. Don't just put, the whoops Bitmoji, put whoops and then put in a comment, did you forget to include your conclusion? Or, did you do this aspect of our rubric? Now, be careful with these. There are some of these I've added on here you would never want to put on a student's paper, like the girl at the bottom going, duh. You don't want to, make the student feel like they're an absolute failure. And while this girl over here is super excited about the work that they've done, be careful because Bitmoji does have some mildly inappropriate Bitmojis that are available, which leads me to my next slide. Can students use Bitmoji? If I think this is definitely up to your discretion. Is a Bitmoji something I would turn my first graders loose with? Probably not, because there are things like these Bitmojis that you see below. I haven't run across any that have, full out explicit language, but clearly you can see there's the underlying tone and intention, and you can imply what is going on here in some of these Bitmojis. So I would use your own discretion. However, if you maybe have older students, middle school, high school, and you can have the conversation of, I'm giving you this tool to use as a way to be more creative, and please, I need you to use it responsibly, then you might be able to use things like this. Okay. Number one, provide a Bitmoji. And these are students using Bitmojis. Provide a Bitmoji to show how you like the blank. So let's say you just finished a book, you just finished a video on Edpuzzle, you have just completed some sort of project. Get student feedback by allowing them to provide you with a Bitmoji to show, kind of their thoughts. Or how did you feel about today's exit slip? Did you feel like you could answer it properly? Things like that. Another example I've seen is students creating comic strips. Comic strips have been a big thing for many years now for students to create, rather than just writing a mundane paragraph type thing, but allowing them to use Bitmojis. Allowing them to use Bitmojis to show, things that they're interested in, telling about themselves, giving feedback and reflections from their own viewpoint, and plus using the graphics from a Bitmoji within that. Showing the beginning, middle, and end of stories. What was the character doing, in the beginning of the story, middle of the story, end of the story, and they could, make those self-to-text connections and include Bitmojis of themselves doing what those characters were doing. Also, while you're teaching plot in the middle of the stories, okay? And finally, ask for help and show how they feel about assignments. So let's say you've given them an assignment and you're going to allow them, to give feedback on what they thought of the assignment. Again, using a Bitmoji to show their own feelings and thoughts about the assignment would be a great way. However, let me say again, I caution you because there are some inappropriate Bitmojis that are available. I would definitely advise you to go through first, and see what's there. That way you know exactly what you're putting in your students' hands. Definitely not something I would probably give my first graders. I really wish, my co-teacher and I wish that they would come out with a kid emoji that was a little more kid friendly with all age appropriate Bitmojis. And if nothing else, you know what? After you've watched this Teacher Tip Tuesday, you have a cool way to text and email now. These are so fun to add in text messages with your friends. When you're communicating back and forth with other faculty members, it's a lot better than just the semicolon parentheses for a smiley face. They can really see exactly how you're feeling about a situation. And plus, when you screw up, it's really nice to send the little girl, sorry, Bitmoji. You kind of get some sympathy because she looks so pitiful. So, if you enjoyed this, keep following SLY Teaching on Facebook each week, Teacher Tip Tuesday through the summer. I will be posting, and also feel free to follow me on Twitter at Leanne Yonker, and we will see you guys next week.